Alrighty, here we go. I'm back here. We're talking about the purpose formula, true nature, TN, plus our essential qualities, EQ, plus our natural gifts, minus our personality resistance, our fears, plus or aim towards a meaningful need in the world, gives us our purpose. Remember, we are on Freedom Mountain. We have done 2 slopes of Freedom Mountain. We're on the back side of that. We're talking about how to go from work, a day job, to doing something that is much more meaning, more purpose, is sharing more of our gifts, and is more about people, planet, profit, as opposed to just being about work, doing work for the sake of making money to pay the mortgage, to just do what we have to do, but then disappearing a whole lot more money into drink and therapy because we're so miserable, because we're not really living in our service or in our meaningful life on that slope of Freedom Mountain. You with me? Okay, quick story. Buddy comes to me, says, okay, I guess you want to talk about the problem. He sits down on my couch and I said, well, tell you what, I think you've seen a lot of people. You have some challenges. I'm going to say you have quite a few challenges, and you've been talking about the problem for 7-8 years, and it doesn't seem, from what you're saying to me, that anything has changed. So I'm going to propose that we don't talk about the problem. What? He says. I said, well, work with me. We're not a problem to be solved so much as we're a mystery to be embraced. If we're not embracing who we are, then we can get buried in the basement of our misery and our suffering and our anxiety and depression, of which he had plenty of fancy diagnoses, plenty of drugs that he was on. He was living a lot in the psych ward. He was out on weekends for a night to spend with his parents, and then he was back in again. But mostly that was the same, and he had seen all sorts of people and not much results. But his focus, our attention is our life, right? But his attention was on the problem, or being in the basement. Well, you're going to get problem saturated there, right? So I invited him over here and I said, look, why don't we not talk about the problem? And he said, well, what are we going to talk about? And I said, it's up to you, but what are you interested in? He said, that's easy. I'm interested in the history of architecture. 6 months went by. He's signed up to do his master's in history of architecture. He's making money. He's on about half of the meds. He's living at home in his parents' basement full time. He's going to visit the psych ward for a couple of evening groups during the week. He's playing hockey. He's having fun. He's dating. He's making money. From TAing, from being a teaching assistant. You get the picture, right? But he says to me after 6 months, shouldn't we really be talking about the problem? And I said, well, look, this is up to you. It's your insurance money. It's your dime. I'm going to help you with whatever makes sense. We were talking about the problem about 10-15% of the time. But he said to me, shouldn't we really be talking about the problem? What if people find out we're not really talking about the problem? And I said, it's up to you, Shall we talk about the problem? And he looked around and went, nah. So you know how it is. 3 years later, less and less time. We're seeing each other at the end of 3 years, but he was doing his PhD. He was engaged to be married. He took his insurance money and his bucket of meds, and he was down to about 1/10 of them. Psychiatrist helped him come down off of those, not me. He did that with a doctor. And, he started to wind up his self-care, his relationships improved, everything started, and a lot of Ivy League universities wanted him because he was already publishing now, even long before he graduated and finished his PhD. So that story is repeated over and over and over again. We're not a problem to be solved, we're a mystery to be embraced. That's what I want you and I to be exploring right now. Have you got your pen and paper? Have you got the PDF? Download the purpose formula. If you haven't, just grab a piece of paper. We're going to move very quickly through this formula. I don't want you to think a lot about the questions I'm going to ask you. I want you to just instinctually answer. We're going to unpack them and be very strategic and very mindful afterwards, because there's 3 points in each of these that we're going to walk through in the future videos. But I really, for now, I want you to come up with this instinctual answer, and I'm going to rapid fire some questions as we walk through each of these areas. So true nature. You got your pen, you got your paper, 8.5 by 11, flip it on its side, on your marks, get set, go. True nature. What is your source? What of stillness? Some people will call true nature, their true nature, God or Buddha or Jesus or Muhammad or Allah or nature itself or the creator or source energy or presence or being just now, just the now, the moment of now, Eckhart Tolle. What is that for you? What is your, let's just identify and name it. What is your true name? What is stillness for you? It could be that you, after playing music and guitar, that's where you access this quiet, this calm, this stillness. Or you go to the temple. Or you go to the studio, or your writing studio, where you just feel this presence. Or you light a candle in the Catholic Church or the synagogue, whatever. What is that for you? Okay, so name that source, your true nature. Essential qualities, we're going to name the essential qualities that your friends or that you have running through your system. And what I mean by that is Buddha had a compassion or mindfulness essential quality. Jesus had forgiveness essential quality. Various, you could say the Dalai Lama has a kindness essential quality. Eckhart Tolle has this fierce gentleness essential quality. What are your essential qualities? Just don't think, go, right. All right, we're moving along. I know it's fast. Natural gifts of leading, of fully expressing through art, through music, natural gift of being a teacher, natural gift of hospitality. Is it a natural gift of being a mechanic, being a doctor, being a lawyer? What are your natural gifts? What do you suspect they are? Even if you don't know for sure 100% about all of them, name one or two your friends would say, he's really good at looking after people, he's really good with relationships, or she's awesome being under the hood of a car, being a mechanic. You get the picture. Personality resistance, just put the first word fear. What are your fears? What is your deepest fear? What is your most scariest thing? What is the dragon that you have to face? Right? Because in this formula, guess what? As we walk through it, there's going to be not enoughness or rejection or abandonment or isolation or aloneness or those fears. Yeah, from a psychological perspective is one thing, but from us working in the mentorship model is that plays a very different role. We're going to learn how to slay that dragon. Slaying is there's no killing dragon. There's enough dragons been killed. We just need to befriend them, by the way. So we just need to name them. Okay? You got it? I know we're going fast. Meaningful need. MN is meaningful need in the world. Are you drawn to autism? Always have been, because your younger brother was autistic. Are you drawn to the environment? And is it about taking carbon and toxins out of the environment and translating, recycling them into plastics? Or into cars, whatever. Is it about babies and babies' health? Is it about women's empowerment? What is the meaningful need that you're drawn to in the world? Is it injustice? Is it the lack of? Is there's too many meds on the market and not enough vitamins? I mean, what is that thing that you're reading about? You're curious about. You're always researching. You're always paying attention to. Okay, you got it. That's our purpose formula. I want you to hang on to this piece of paper. We're going to unpack it some more, so you're going to end up with even more information for you to be able to standing way up into who you really are. Why? Because we want you fully expressing your gifts in a meaningful life, because it models joy and prosperity that the world needs right now, and beauty and truth and wisdom that the world needs right now. Otherwise, we're going to continue to elect planks into leading the world around us. No names mentioned here, right? But what about genuine people that are very naturally on their gift of leadership, that are willing to really change this world? And leadership in the local schools, leadership in the local Boy Scouts, leadership in government, but also leadership in family and even leadership in ourselves. So we need to change the world, people. This is our formula we're working with right now. Join me next time. I'm going to unpack this some more. Thank you for joining me. Bye for now.